Good afternoon, everyone from Dunrovin Ranch in Lola, Montana. I'm here to say hello to my friends in Mayberry in Texas. I'm going to wave hello. I can't see you to wave back, but I wanted to start your afternoon activity session regarding Dunrovin with a couple of short videos of some events at the nest that you may not have picked up on your own. First of all, I'd like to show you a number of recent deliveries of fish that Swoop made to Harriet. And these are typical of the way that pass off goes from Swoop to Harriet. But let's take a look at some of these. I've got several examples. This first one was a few days ago, and he brings a headless fish. This is very common. He'll eat the head first and then bring the rest of the fish to the nest. He too has to eat. So there she is, and you can see her calling. You saw the headless fish, and she's happy for it. She's hungry. So she's going to take the fish from him. And remember, he has to actively let go of the fish. His talons are in the relaxed position when they're holding the fish. So he has to use his muscles to open his talons. Now, in this particular incident, Harriet is going to fly off. And if you wait a minute, you'll see her reappear on the perch. We don't really see her flying around. She flew around outside of the camera view, but she'll end up on the perch to eat her fish. Meanwhile, Swoop is incubating the eggs. There you can see her coming, and she's got her fish. We have a rider in our arena underneath him, as you can see. Now, the second delivery, she also brings a headless fish, kind of a repeat of the first one, but in this case, she flies around within camera view, so you can see her fly off and then fly around and bring back the fish. Here again, she's calling for him. She knows he has a fish and she wants it. She's hungry. She's got the fish. And he's cleaning his beak off because he ate some of that fish, and he's just cleaning his beak and his talons off there a bit. You can see that. There she comes. It's so much fun to watch these birds. These birds are incredible. You can see some more horse activity in the background there. The horses are, this is in the evening, so the horses are ready to go. This time he brings a live fish. Harriet tries to take it, but Swoop keeps it and flies off to eat part of it first. It was a rather stop and go. He brings a live fish. That's a big one. Looks like some kind of catfish. She takes a bite. She clearly wants it. But he's hungry too. And he's not letting go. He takes his fish off. He has a favorite perch on one of the electrical poles that have been modified so that they're not a danger to him. He likes to go over there, and normally when the camera will move, we will follow him over there. So he eats the fish's head, and then he returns the fish to Harriet, who takes it and flies around and lands on the perch again. That seems to be her habit this year. So this is the return of the same fish he'd had a few minutes ago. You can see on the clock, this is Sunday, this is on the afternoon, evening. He didn't eat much, just the head. That's very common. That's a big fish for them. And again, he's cleaning his beak. You can see that every time they eat, they clean their beak. Off she goes. Oh, I see Mayberry on the chat. Hello, Mayberry. I'm glad you're with us. And she's back on the perch to eat her fish. Now, the fourth delivery is a little bit different. He brings a small whole fish. Harriet takes it, but this time she stays on the nest to eat it. It's not a very big fish. He lets go of it for her. And she just stays right there to eat it. Now, when the chicks hatch, and we can start seeing chicks hatch within this next week, she will eat her fish right with the chicks. She doesn't leave the nest until the chicks start to fledge. So she's really homebound when the chicks hatch. Swoop doesn't feed them very much, but we have seen him actually feed them. The males will feed them very occasionally. You can see that awful plastic at his tail. I wish he wouldn't have brought that to the nest. It's just hanging around there, and I'm really upset about it, frankly. So he's hungry and he wants to have a little of that fish himself. Now they're both wanting to eat the fish. But she's got it and she's taken the last bit down. He's free to go off and fish anytime he wants to, but she's kind of stuck at home. That shaking like he does is probably to get the last bits of water off of him from having caught the fish. Ospreys are one of the few birds that can shake while flying. That's part of their adaptation for diving right in the water. They will come out of the water and shake like that to get the water off of them and lighten their load. You know, the feathers get heavy if they're carrying a lot of water. So you'll see an osprey dive, come out of the water and shake like a dog while flying. They are so well adapted to fishing. These are such magnificent birds. You might tell I'm really in love with these guys. He's doing a little preening. It's important that the birds keep their feathers clean and keep them oiled. He picks up oil off of his beak and puts them on his feather. And again, that's a really important part of being an osprey, is having oiled feathers for when you go into the water. So they do a lot of preening. It's real important for them to keep their bodies clean. Helps them in fishing. She's really gulping down that fish. She was hungry. And you can see that her neck start to bulge out as the fish goes down into her crop. There it goes down the hatch. And now you'll see Harriet clean her beak. And Harriet heads right back over to those eggs to continue incubating them. Okay, I'm going to take this little video down, and then I'm going to show a video of Harriet flying backwards. And I see that Dunrovin Celia is on the chat, and I have to thank her for putting me onto this. This is an interesting short little video. I'm doing it in slow motion. A swoop flies in for a little lovemaking, and I think copulation after the time that the birds can still lay eggs is common among raptors because that it helps seal their social bond. So Swoop flies in for a little lovemaking, and then Harriet flies backwards to the perch. And I have to say, I have never seen a bird fly backwards, so I wanted to show it to you in slow motion. Thank you, Celia, for pointing this out to me. Here he comes with a little romance on his mind. And then Harriet gets up and leaves him to the eggs. And this is what's really interesting is she takes off flying forward, but flies backwards to go to the perch. It's not a long distance, but I still have never seen a bird fly backwards. Except maybe hummingbirds. Hummingbirds fly backwards, but birds of prey don't normally. Their wings aren't really set up for it. I could watch these birds fly all day long. She seems to go straight up, and then I don't know that there's much breeze, but she gets herself backwards for sure. That's some pretty talented flying, I'd have to say. Okay, that's all I have for today. I understand that you're going to do some just watching of what's happening right at the time. So I will close off at this point and stop on the ranch camera. You go over to the nest camera and you will see what's happening live on the nest. Thank you for letting me start your program off, and I'll see you later. Bye.